Hi, Brandon Hardison, President of Champion Strategies and spokesperson for ShopSmart Autos, giving you, the consumer, all of the best knowledge we can find in order for you to get that vehicle in your budget and with all of the technologies that you're looking for. So let's get right to it for today. There are some people that are out there that do know that car salespeople working for a manufacturer gets a survey score as part of working with you buying a car. And for some of them, it can be cash payments or monies in kind where they can get gifts or take trips, but all these things are out there. So if you can remember your last new vehicle purchase, or if you can't remember, do you remember the manufacturer contacting you? Now, the reason why I say that, just like a whole lot of companies, I don't care if it's hotel, eateries, they always want to know how they did. Same thing with the automotive industry. So I want you to think of this. Anything less than an A is an F. Anything less than an A is an F. And here's what we mean. In car dealerships, it's common to hear salespeople ask, sometimes even beg, a customer who just purchased a vehicle with them to give them top marks in their customer satisfaction survey. It's going to arrive at their home soon, phone call, email. The salesperson's pay and potentially the job itself may well vary on getting perfect tens in the survey. You see, salespeople plead for good survey scores because their pay and maybe even their job may depend on it. In most dealerships, giving a car salesperson an 8 or a 9 on a customer satisfaction report that's based on a 10-point scale is essentially giving the salesperson a 0 score. You see, if you had good sales experience, giving the salesperson a top score, because in your mind, nobody needs a top, everybody can improve. But for the manufacturer on the CSI survey, it puts many of their performance suggestions in a little box, meaning that you didn't do everything because you, the consumer, would have given them all tens. Customer satisfaction indexing scores are an important part of everyday life at a dealership, and for good reason. Automakers who are in the ivory tower want to hear from customers in order to gauge how well the franchise is doing in certain key areas around the country. Primary customers, if you will, when they look at these satisfaction scores, lets the manufacturer know that that point, that brick and mortar, is exceeding or it's declining, and there might be some need for some changes. On the dealership level, those scores often determine future inventory. In other words, the better the score, the more likely the dealership will get in demand vehicles for that market. Depending on the manufacturing, we can look at future allocations, additional vehicles that come to a dealership. That's why when you hear on some commercials, we have more vehicles than anyone else in the area. Well, that's because their CSI scores were consistent, reflective, and the manufacturer thanked them by giving them additional units. Now, let's get back to the salesperson. If a salesperson does a bad job, or he or she deserves a bad survey, but what should shoppers do if they feel good about the transaction weren't blown away by it. Well, the normal impulse, once again, give the salesperson some decent scores, 7, 8, 9, because they really didn't earn a 10. But because the scoring model used, an 8 or a 9 is essentially the same as a 0. So with so much on the line for both the dealer, the salesperson, making sure that they can maximize on this survey and sweeten their pockets, if you will, because we're talking about a job or some bonuses, paying some additional family bills for the sales consultant and his family. But the spectator, if we look at it, of a bad survey is not going to help anyone out in this situation. So if you really feel that you had a great experience and they were not pushy, they did everything right, please do your best you can to give them the best marks. Now, will only having tens mean everything for that salesperson? No, there's probably some other things that are going to be lacking. If they can put it all together, that is great. But in this CSI, customer satisfaction indexing that the manufacturer receives, it's just an A or an 100 in math if we get great scores each and every time that you, the consumer, fills out this survey that comes from the manufacturer. So just some food for thought. Now, if you hear that salesperson begging for all grades and they try to sweeten the deal by saying, we'll give you so many free tanks of gas or so many oil changes, now that's coaching to get a good score, and that is not honest. The manufacturer doesn't want that, and naturally, you shouldn't want that. You want to give a good, detailed, transparent account of what happened with that sales consultant while you were in that dealership. Now, if you didn't know anything about it, now you know. So the next time you come to a car dealership, that salesperson may remind you that the manufacturer is going to see how well you did with me today. And they may say, could you give me some good scores? But if you see in your mind that they're over the line and they're begging, do what your heart is content with. That is the best way a good consumer can have consistency when they come into a dealership. Once again, Brandon Hardison, President of Champion Strategies and spokesperson for ShopSmart Autos, as always in party. You go out and make it a champion.